Alright, here we are. After 6 months of regular season action, we have reached the postseason. 12 teams have made it, more than we're used to seeing. How will it all turn out? That's what I'm trying to guess here today. These are just my picks. I'll throw out a little information on each team to compare them a little, but not in too much detail. Without analyzing it too much, these are the picks I came up with. And of course, let us know in the comments what your picks are for the postseason. The first matchup we have here is the Jays and Mariners. Mariners won the season series 5-2, but all those games were in the first half of the season. Jays will be at home for this series. They're good at home, but the Mariners are good on the road. Mariners are a good hitting team, but the Jays are a much stronger hitting team. Mariners have the better pitching, but the Jays aren't too far behind them. Manoah made one start against the Mariners, 7 1/3 innings, 2 runs. Luis Castillo made one start against the Jays when he was with the Reds, 6 innings, 2 runs, but that was back in May. Similar numbers when you look at the other starting pitchers. One start against the other team, nothing great, but not terrible either. So with pitching about even, I think it comes down to the better offensive team. And that's Toronto. I'll say Jays in 3. Next we got the Tampa Bay Rays visiting the AL Central champion Cleveland Guardians. Two very different teams in the last couple weeks of the season. The Guardians have been looking great lately. The Rays, meanwhile, lost 8 of their last 10, which included losing a series to the Guardians last week. Home field belongs to Cleveland. They were 46-35 at home this year. The Rays were 35-46 on the road. Neither team was that good offensively. Guardians scored more runs, Rays hit more home runs. Guardians were second from the bottom in that category. Both teams are good at stealing bases. Guardians stole 119, Rays stole 95. Rays got caught stealing more too. Pitching is the strength for both teams. Rays have a slightly lower team ERA. Shane Bieber made 2 starts against the Rays, one good, one not so good. Tristan McKenzie had one quality start versus the Rays last week. For the Rays, Shane McClanahan hasn't looked so good since coming back in mid-September. It's not looking good for the Rays here. I'll say Guardians in 2. In the National League, we've got the Cardinals and the Phillies. The regular season series was about even, 4-3 in favor of the Phillies. The Cards get the home field where they won over 50 games this year. The Phillies were okay on the road, going 40-41. The two teams are about the same offensively. Both hit a lot of home runs. Cards are a little ahead. Not a big difference in pitching either, but once again, Cards come out ahead. Starting pitching, I'd say, favors the Phillies. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler are a good 1-2 punch. That's very important in a 3-game series. And that's why I'm picking an upset here. Phillies in 2. Mets and Padres. Mets were hoping to win the division and get that first-round bye, but here they are. Mets won more games than the Padres. Padres won 4 of 6 from the Mets during the regular season. Mets will have the home field. They were 54-27 at home. Padres were 45-36 on the road. Mets scored a lot more runs than the Padres this year. Pitching was close, but that too favored the Mets. Very interesting when it comes to starting pitchers. For the Padres, Darvish, Musgrove, and Snell make a great trio for a 3-game series. Darvish has started twice against the Mets this season, allowing just 1 run in 14 innings. The Mets, of course, have Scherzer and DeGrom. Scherzer is looking good, and I think his postseason experience means more than any regular season stats. When you put it all together, it looks like it'll be a good series, but the Padres come up short. The Mets won more, scored more, and surrendered less. Padres could win here, and it wouldn't surprise me, but I'll say Mets in 3. Then comes the best-of-5 division series. First in the American League, we have the Astros and Blue Jays. After a hard-fought series win over the weekend, the Jays will get 1 day off, then head to Houston where they'll be facing Verlander, Valdez, or Kitty, all with plenty of rest. The Jays will have to look further down their rotation, or turn to Manoah and Gausman on short rest. Either way, it doesn't look good for them. Jays have good hitting, but it won't make up for the pitching. Astros in 3. Next, Yankees and Guardians. Yankees won 5 out of 6 games from the Guardians this season. They had the best home record of any American League team at 57-24. But the Guardians were good on the road at 46-35. Yanks are one of the league's best offensive teams, first in home runs. Of course, Aaron Judge leads the way, but if he gets cold in the postseason, they've still got Rizzo, Stanton, and others. Both teams have good pitching, a little advantage to the Yankees. I expect the Guardians to put up a fight, but I'm picking the Yankees here, in 5. In the National League, we'll have Mets and Dodgers. Mets won the season series 4-3. They split 4 games in LA, then the Mets took 2 out of 3 in New York. Home field goes to the Dodgers. They were 57-24 at home this year. But the Mets are a good road team. They were 47-34 on the road. Mets are near the top in team OPS and team ERA. Dodgers are number 1 in both categories. The Dodgers will have Julio Urias on the mound, who hasn't had a bad game since mid-July. Tyler Anderson has been good against the Mets this year. 2 starts, 13 innings, and only 2 runs allowed. Dodgers overall have the better hitting and pitching. They're playing at home and will have some time off, whereas the Mets will be coming off a hard-fought series win over the Padres. So it looks like the Dodgers take this one, in 4. Braves and Phillies, 2 NL East teams, so they've seen plenty of each other. Braves won the regular season series 11-8. They also got the home field advantage. They were 55-26 at home. Phillies were about 500 on the road. Braves were second in the NL in team OPS and team ERA. Phillies were fifth in OPS, bottom half in ERA. Braves had a nice finish to the regular season, and they'll come in with a few days rest. Braves in 3. Okay, that's it for the division series. Some of you will be quick to point out that I just picked the top 4 teams. That's not me being lazy and just going with a favorite team. It's because I think that first round bye is going to be huge. A few days rest while the next opponent is using its 2 or 3 best starting pitchers, with only a day or 2 of rest in between. That is a big advantage to the top 2 teams in each league. Upsets are still possible, but I'd say less likely in this setup. For the ALCS, I've got the Astros and Yankees, the 2 teams most of you are probably expecting. The Astros are 5-2 against the Yankees this year. Astros will have the home field advantage, and they won over 50 games at home. The Yankees are even better at home, but they're just over 500 on the road, and they'll need at least 1 win on the road to take this series. Pitching is pretty close. They're 1-2 in the American League team ERA rankings. If you imagine their best starting pitchers going head-to-head, seems like the Astros have the advantage. Hitting favors the Yankees, but they had a little trouble scoring against the Astros. 22 runs in 7 games. This should be a really good series. I'll say Astros in 7. NLCS, Dodgers and Braves. Dodgers won the regular season series 4-2, but all those games happened early in the season. Both teams are strong at home and on the road. Dodgers have the home field advantage, but I'm not sure if that will really mean anything. Both teams won over 100 games. The Braves had a winning record against all divisions, but the West gave them the most trouble. For the Dodgers, they had the hardest time against the East. In team OPS, Dodgers first, Braves second. Team ERA, Dodgers first, Braves second. Team OPS was close, ERA wasn't. Both teams looked good right up till the end of the season. If I'm right up to this point, this will be the 3rd straight year the Braves and Dodgers meet in the NLCS. Hard to pick one here. Dodgers look like they're a little better, but my instincts are telling me it's the Braves in 6. So we end up with a World Series between the Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves. Again, 2 teams that each won over 100 games, seeing mostly different opponents. Good pitching and hitting for both teams. If it is these 2 teams in the World Series, it should be a great series. And I like Houston in this one. Astros in 7. That's what I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments. That's all for this one, and until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.